Hello and welcome to Editing Fundamentals. In this tutorial, we're going to explore the basics of what makes a great edit. Your ability to tell a story through editing picture or sound is a core skill every filmmaker should acquire. Even if you're not the one sitting behind the computer, you'll at least know how to communicate your vision to your post-production crew. This tutorial will set you on your way to growing as a master storyteller. But before we begin, watch this clip. It is from We Are Marshall. It's a true story about Marshall University. On the way home from a big game, the football team, along with players, coaches, and boosters, were killed in a plane crash. The president of the university wants to suspend the football program. But after many pleas from students and fans, the president decides to rebuild the program. Let's watch how great editing can drive home the story and emotion.
Get it up! Out of the ball. Set.
So what is an edit? Well, that can be answered in a number of different ways. An edit can be the process of assembling shots created in the production process, such as if we're on set and we're shooting a very complicated scene with a number of different cameras, setups, and blocking and moving shots. If we want to make sure that the shots are working and that we can actually get a viable scene to tell the story, we can do a quick edit on set. An edit can be a finished piece or a work in progress, such as if we do a rough edit of our piece, we send it to the client, they make their comments and talk about the changes they want made. They send that back to the editor makes his revisions, sends it back to the client for another round of review. An edit can simply be a transition between two clips, how we go from clip A to clip B. So on the timeline in relation to the edit, the clip to the left of the edit will always be known as clip A. The clip to the right of the edit will always be known as clip B. So if you look and see our play line is in the middle of ID-4, now it is at the beginning of clip ID-4. So that would make the clip to the left clip A, and now ID-4 would be clip B. So now ID4 is clip A and IC3 is clip B. IC3 is now clip A, IE5 is clip B. So now back to transitions. We have three main transitions. Those are cuts, wipes, and dissolves. Cuts can be the joining together of two different shots or occasionally the same shot. Ideally, the action should be continuous from clip A to clip B, or cuts can be used within a scene for a change in location or information, or between the scenes, cuts can be used for a change of impact or emotion. So let's take a look at this classic favorite and see how the editor uses cuts to show a change in location, change of impact, change of emotion.
Up. Move. Come on. Quickly, quickly. Chewie.
Han, hurry. The fleet will be here any moment.
Charger. Come on. Come on.
They're mine. They'll be captured. Wait, come back. Archie, stay with me.
Frank.
You rebel scum.
All wings report in.
Red leader standing by.
Gray leader standing by.
Green leader standing by.
Lock S files and attack positions.
May the force be with us.
We've got to be able to get some kind of reading on that shield, up or down. Well, how could they be jamming us if they don't know if we're coming? Break off the attack. The shield is still up.
I get no reading. Are you sure?
Pull up. All craft, pull up.
Take a base of action. Green Group, stay across the hull and check the empty shutter.
Admiral, we have enemy ships in Sector 27.
It's a trap.
Fighters coming in.
There's too many of them.
Accelerate to attack speed. Draw their fire away from the cruisers.
Copy, Gold Leader.
Come, boy. See for yourself.
From here, you will witness the final destruction of the Alliance and the end of your insignificant rebellion.
So let's talk about wipes. Wipes change the shot simply by beginning at one point of the frame and moving to another. Essentially, it's a traveling threshold that wipes clip A off and B on at the same time. Here's some pretty obvious examples of wiping. Check this out. Very obvious. So obvious. Still wiping. Wipe on. And wipe off. Do you see, Danielson?
Starting July 1, 8:30 p.m. and midnight departures for Woods Hole.
Harry, come back here.
Now, today? We'll make it fast. Yeah, well, don't bother until okay. Come right.
So this type of wipe is a natural wipe where it's pretty typical, like on a beach scene. If you were to be shooting a picture out in the water, people are going to be walking back and forth in front of you. So we're used to seeing that or experiencing that in our shots or in our videos. Another example of a natural wipe would be, say, if you were shooting a city scene and you wanted to wipe by using a van that drove in front of the camera and filled the whole scene. It would be similar to what we just noticed here, observed here with the natural wipe. Okay, let's talk about dissolves. A dissolve, like the name suggests, is a gradual transition where clip A fades away or fades out at the same time clip B fades in at the same time. So you see an overlapping of these clips. There'll be a point where you will see both clip A and clip B at the same time. Dissolves are used to indicate a passage of time both within a scene or between scenes. Let's take a look at this next example from American Splendor. It's a story about a graphic novelist named Harvey Pekar, played by Paul Giamatti. Pekar is diagnosed with cancer, and as in an effort to cope or deal with cancer, he chronicles his journey through cancer in the form of a graphic novel. So let's take a look. Elements of the edit. When an edit works or doesn't work, it's due to one or more of the following 6 things. We have motivation, information, composition, continuity, audio, and the camera angle. The official movie killer is the lack of motivation. Motivation is having the audience want or need to see the next shot. It's really super important that you want your audience to be engaged, to want to see the next scene, episode, or page, or whatever. And it can be achieved either visually or through the use of audio. Visually, action, timing, rhythm, or answering of questions. It can be visual due to action, if we need to see more action or lack of action, timing, rhythm, or answering questions about the story. It can also be achieved through audio, dialogue or audio cues from off camera, such as if we had a couple actors sitting on a sofa and we hear a knock on the door. Are we or are we not going to cut to the door and back to the two actors on the sofa? We hear the door knock a couple times. Do we cut to a shot of who's on the other side of the door? It can also be achieved through a combination of some or all of these. Let's take a look at this clip from Harry Potter and see if we can decide what the motivation is for the audience to want to keep watching.
They're on requirement.
We need to hide the Half-Blood Prince's book, where no one will ever find it, including you.
What was that?
So what was the motivation in this clip? Well, obviously it started out to be visual because the composition and the shots were so visually interesting. But at some point we started to hear a sound. And then as the characters moved through the scene, it was all about finding out what the sound was and where it was coming from. And then all of a sudden it's revealed, the door opens, and then the bird flies out. Information. This is generally recognized as visual information, although it could be audio, but each new shot should contain some new information that's different visually or audio-wise than the previous shot. Regardless of how beautiful the shot is, it must contain new information to be useful. The more information you have from the shot means more involvement or engagement for the audience. Let's talk about composition. What is composition? Well, it's a lot of things. It can be everything from the design of the set, the environment. It can be the lighting, the framing of the actors, the blocking. It can be a lot of things. And it would be great if the editor was involved from the beginning in the planning process, because the editor is really cutting together the story, and it's the editor's job to choose the best shots from the existing footage. So the sooner you get an editor involved in your project, the more intimately knowledgeable the editor will be regarding the choice regarding the footage. So let's take a look at this clip with Jack Nicholson and take a look at the composition.
When I was your age, they would say we could become cops or criminals. Today, what I'm saying is this. When you're facing a loaded gun, what's the difference? It's my boy.
target and the destruction.
So what did you notice about the composition of those two shots? First, we're in a garage, and in the back we see the mechanics working on some cars. We see a shot of Nicholson from the back. We hear him and we see his cigarette. Then we cut to Matt Damon's character as a boy, cut back over the shoulder. And then after Jack delivers his lines, then we see this next shot in the police briefing room. So we obviously know the choice that the kid made, but look at the composition of this shot. We see we're using depth of field where we see Matt Damon's character in focus, but then we see the rows of the officers behind him. Continuity is a big issue in making movies. It doesn't mean the same, it simply means consistent. Does this look consistent with what is going on in the scene? Does this sound consistent with the time of day? Is the object's placement consistent within the last shot? We have positional continuity. That means, are the actors in the same location? If we reset to take another pass, are the actors in the same position? We refer to that as back to one. Is an object in the same position, such as a glass on a table, or let's say a TV set in a room, a prop. So are they in the same place? Wardrobe is a big thing. If we have a number of actors and let's say we come back to reshoot another day, are the actors wearing the same clothes that they did in the original session? Movement, which would be the direction of the actors. Is their blocking the same? Is the direction of their movements consistent? Content or story would focus on the actor's play. Is that consistent? And especially audio, from one shot to the next within the scene, does the environment sound the same? If we are booming one actor and putting a wireless lav on another actor, when we go to edit, does it sound consistent from cut to cut? Or if we are revisiting a location to do a reshoot or a pickup shot, does that environment sound the same? Let's take another look at the clip with Jack Nicholson and see if we can notice some continuity issues.
When I was your age, they would say we could become cops or criminals. Today, what I'm saying is this. When you're facing a loaded gun, what's the difference? It's my boy.
Terminal ballistics is the study of a projectile as it hits a target and the destruction.
Now, obviously, the continuity issue is the cigarette. When we hear Nicholson deliver his lines, we see it from the back of his head, so we're not really seeing his mouth. So he very easily could be gesturing with the cigarette as though he was talking, but those lines could be looped or ADR'd. But when we see him from the front, we don't see a cigarette, because chances are the director opted to not worry about the continuity issue, because having a cigarette in his mouth could possibly compromise his ability to deliver that very important line. So the priority was the line over the continuity in the cigarette. Remember, movies are meant to see one time, the first time. So if continuity issues pass and we don't notice them the first time, we're good. Audio, What can you say about audio? It is very, very important. In fact, it is the other half of the film. When was the last time you saw a silent movie? Audio is immediate to the audience perception and more abstract in their processing. Did you know it takes more brain power to process audio? Because not only are we processing the audio, our brains are actually conjuring up an image to go with that audio. Audio can be advanced or delayed to create motivation and rhythm. Back to motivation, creating the need for the audience to want to see more. Now, there are two ways that we can edit audio. Let's take a look at the first clip from a show called Monk. It's called the radio edit. The way we do a radio edit is simply we turn off the visual and edit based on audio. So basically every cut is going to go with the audio. Let's take a look.
Adrian, I just don't know what to say. I'm speechless, and I'm very proud of you.
It's no big deal.
No. I say it's a big deal.
It's just one weekend. I'll be gone 2 nights.
2 nights alone in a hotel.
Well, Natalie was going to be busy with her family, so I had a choice. I could either stalk her or plan a little getaway.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're looking forward to it.
I might even leave my room.
Yes.
Okay, so now let's take a look at what we refer to as the split edit. What that means is that we are going to be editing in advance or behind what happens visually so we can actually see the reaction of the actors. What we're editing here is the same duration but in time, but the way we edit it has a whole totally different feel. Let's take a look.
Adrian, I just don't know what to say. I'm speechless, and I'm very proud of you.
It's no big deal.
No. I say it's a big deal.
It's just one weekend. I'll be gone 2 nights.
2 nights alone in a hotel.
Well, Natalie was going to be busy with her family, so I had a choice. I could either stalk her or plan a little getaway.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're looking forward to it.
I might even leave my room.
Yes.
So we can see that by doing a split edit, it flows a lot better. And actually the scene, even though it's the same duration, it feels quicker. The camera angle is truly one of the most important elements of a cohesive edit. In most cases, each time there is a cut, the camera angle should be different. If we do not change the camera angle and we do an edit, we are going to it will result in what we call a jump cut, which is abrupt, and it has the potential of taking the audience out of the story. Let's take a look at this clip from The Hulk and check out all the different camera angles that are used in this scene. This is amazing. Do you see all the camera angles that were used? They weren't just close-ups. They were medium wide. There were camera angles from above. There were camera angles from below. There were actual moving or tracking shots, all cut together, added for a lot of emotion, a lot of energy, and certainly wanting, making the audience want to engage, wondering what was going to come next. So the camera angle is very, very important. Okay, so far we've talked about some mechanics such as some transitions, wipes, cuts, dissolves. We talked about the elements of the edit, things like motivation, information, composition. So let's talk about some types of edits. Let's talk about 3. Let's talk about matching action, form edit, and a concept edit. So matching edit or matching action, we want to make sure the actor's actions are matched and followed through from clip A to clip B. So what that means is if you were to shoot an actor walking across a room, you're going to shoot the shot as he or she is approaching the camera, and then the actor will reset and you'll move the camera to another location and you'll shoot the same action, and then you may move the camera again and shoot the same action. Now we can do this by setting the camera up. If we're doing a 1-camera shoot, we will have to set the camera up for each separate shot, or if we happen to shoot multi-camera where we have multiple cameras set to capture the action all at once. So it can really only be done properly if all the action is captured from all the angles during the shoot. So we're resetting take after take from the same starting point and just shooting the same action. Let's take a look at this clip from the movie Thor and watch all the matching action shots that are done inside the diner.
How'd you get inside that cloud?
Also, how could you eat an entire box of Pop-Tarts and still be this hungry?
This drink, I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
Sorry, Izzy, little accident.
What was that?
It was delicious. I want another.
Well, you could have just said so.
I just did.
No, I mean, ask nicely.
I meant no disrespect.
All right, well, no more smashing. Deal?
I have my word.
Good.
Usual, please, Izzy. You missed all the excitement out at the crater. Seeing some kind of satellite landed out in the desert. Yeah, we were having a good time with it until the Fed showed up.
Excuse me, did you say there was a satellite crash?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is going on Facebook. Smile.
What did it look like, the satellite?
Well, I don't know anything about satellites, but it was heavy. I mean, nobody could lift it. They said it was radioactive. I had my hands all over it.
Which way?
Oh, 50 miles west of here. But I wouldn't waste my time. Looked like the whole army was coming when we left.
Okay, so hopefully we were able to see all the matching action shots across the restaurant. There's a shot where Thor slams the cup down and the actress goes over to pick it up. So we see her actually walking over and bending down, but then we see the over the shoulder of Thor where we see her again on the ground picking it up. So there are a lot of examples in that scene of matching action. So let's move on to a form edit. So you're going to have a pronounced shape, color, dimension, or sound cuts or dissolves into another shot with the same characteristics. There are going to be common elements that form some sort of relationship. So let's take a look at this clip from The Highlander.
Can you walk? I'll bloody well walk out of here.
Let go while you still can. I'll no forget you, Angus.
Okay, so what were the common elements that had a relationship? Well, when we saw the Highlander walking up the hill, and we see the long wide shot of the hills and in the lake, when that dissolved into the hills, the mountains with the moon in the middle, it was the same shape. The next part of the form edit was when we see the close-up of him laying down, and we saw the dissolve of his face dissolving into the Mona Lisa. And then now towards the end of this scene, we see him walking yet again through the streets of whatever city he is in, and that would be tied back to walking through, up the hill through the mountains. So very, very well done. So moving on to what we refer to as a concept edit. This is purely a mental suggestion. 2 shots plant a story or solution. The 2 shots have really nothing in common visually, but the combination of the 2 shots is really what works. Let's take a look at this clip from Me, Myself, and Irene with Jim Carrey and see if we can see the concept edit.
Here you go, Colonel.
Very good, Malcolm.
Okay, to give you a little backstory on this, Jim Carrey's character, his neighbor is dog is constantly stealing his paper and going to the bathroom in his yard. So Jim Carrey's character has finally had enough. So the concept here is obviously with him going to the bathroom in his neighbor's yard and the soft serve. So moving on to some general tips. It's always important to know the rules before you break them. Start every edit and end every edit you do on black, fade in, fade out. Watch the 180 line. We know what that is. Select the appropriate style of edit for the story. Now when there will be another tutorial on editing for genre, because one size does not fit all when it comes to different genres. And the better the edit, the less it's noticed. That means your edit is so good, we're not taking the audience out of the story. Now emotion is king. Emotion is the most important effect of the editing process. It's the bottom line. The editor, director, writer, or anyone else with a creative position must know how to deliver emotion. If you want to do any of these things, you must be willing to study and understand people and how they work if you're going to reach people on an emotional level. So here's some important points. Remember the difference between clip A and clip B. Clip A is to the left of the edit. Clip B is to the right. We're going to start and end on black. Cut on the action. Use split edits with audio. It just makes it flow better. And emotion truly is the bottom line.